What up?
What's
It's your girl, Motivation with V, and this is Get Real with V, where we're going to get real, we're going to get raw, and we're going to get down to the truth. And I'm your host, Veronica Suazo. And today we have a very special guest. I'm so excited to have Carlos today, who's going to share his story, his journey. He was born and raised in
South San Francisco.
South San Francisco.
Family in San Francisco, though. Visitation Valley. What's up?
Okay. So I'll let him go into his story a little bit and then we'll continue our conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, but before we do, I do want to say that I've met Carlos when I was out in the party scene because he was part of the crew DJ. And I would always go to all their shows. So I was there when we were partying, drinking it up, having a blast, no regrets. But I've seen how much he's evolved and I've been following him and his journey. And it's honestly been phenomenal. Like,
Thank you.
The change in you is so dramatic, but like in a good way.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited for you guys to hear in on this episode because I know there's a lot of men and women out there that can get something from his journey. So without further ado, it's all yours, Carlos.
No, thank you. I appreciate that, the introduction, and I appreciate and I'm so grateful that you actually did reach out to me because it was very affirming for you to reach out and say, hey, I want to have you on my podcast because I noticed there's a difference about you. So I think all the work that I've done and the things that have changed for me, it just meant a lot for you to reach out and have me on this podcast. So,
I'm a firm believer that the universe puts things and people into our path when we need it, and like it gives us that confirmation. You had posted something and something inside me was like, just reach out to him and tell him you want him on the pod.
Yeah.
So I did, and here you are. And
Yeah.
I'm excited because this is how the universe aligns people. Like, I really feel like this was meant to be.
Yeah, no, I think it's hella cool that you have a podcast and that you're, giving the community an opportunity to speak about their own experience about what it's like here in the Bay Area and San Francisco. So I think what you're doing is awesome. And then also too, like being willing to like get a guy's perspective also and opening up that other avenue of not just maybe, doing something that you're comfortable with or just hearing different perspectives, I think. So yeah, no, I appreciate you inviting me, and it all really actually aligned with what I've been doing myself right now too. So
tell us a little bit about that. What have you been doing?
Well, I've been stretching myself a little bit more to challenge myself to do things I think that I've been uncomfortable with doing. Like one being having this conversation, right? This is not something that traditionally like I would do, and open up and be really raw about things. But I've been doing a lot of work. I've been doing a lot of meditating and eating healthy, and my girlfriend Mel has taught me so much. So a lot of like
shout out to his girlfriend.
Yeah, shout out to Mel. I just been doing a lot of work, and so I've experienced a lot of change and a lot of growth, and yeah, so that's really where I'm at now.
Yeah, I mean, the universe definitely is aligning you. You've been doing the work. It's clear. It shows.
Yeah.
And being able to be on here and just share your story, it all comes together full circle.
Yeah, no, it totally does. Because I think like a lot of other people, maybe, and a lot of people aren't aware, like I deal with a lot of anxiety.
I appreciate you saying that because it's not easy to just share that to the world.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't have been able to even talk about it or share that if I hadn't done some type of work or gone on the journey, is like how I refer to it, right?
Yeah, anxiety is tough. A lot of people will deal with that.
Yeah.
And they don't like to talk about it.
And it could be really debilitating. Like it could prevent you from doing things in your life that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I started getting to a point where I was like, damn, my anxiety is like preventing me from being like the kind of person I really want to be. So I think as you get older, you kind of get more aware of those things. And then I got to a point where I was like, I want to do something about this. But I've never been a person that was like, oh, let me go see what type of medications are out there or something like that. I definitely wanted to take a more holistic approach. I think that's just kind of how I was raised. And then part of that is like my girlfriend Mel, like everything is very like a holistic approach when healing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
By the way, his girlfriend is a healer.
sound healer,
Sound healer?
Reiki healer, spiritual coach is what she's referred to as.
Dude, you are so lucky. Like he
Yeah, I get
has
free
his at
free
home.
sessions. Yeah,
He gets free sessions at home.
but and it's wonderful and it's a blessing and having Mel's it's transformed my life, but it's also been like very challenging.
I want to hear about the challenge.
So in a perspective of like Mel is like very much going to show me the mirror, you know, like this is what she does, you know, she holds space for
I
people.
love that.
So as beautiful and how as much of I've learned and where I'm at today is great, but that path, that journey it was challenging. Like having to learn like bad habits that I wasn't even aware of, or having to look at things from a different perspective and maybe just not my perspective of things. So it was a lot of work. Yeah.
Wow. Like, I mean, I can imagine how
Mhm.
tough that was for you.
Mhm.
So before you got into a relationship with her, were you already working on yourself, or do you feel like you really started when you met her?
Great question. This is such a beautiful question for me, and I'm like really excited to talk about
Let's
this.
do it.
That's why I was excited to have this conversation. So Mel and I had been dating when COVID happened. But I didn't really know exactly what Mel was doing at that time. I didn't understand what she was doing, right? Like 5 years ago.
You just knew she was a badass chick.
Yeah, yeah. And every now and then she'd carry like these rocks with her, like, or, you know, her crystals, right? Now that I understand. But I always thought it was a little bit weird, like she's doing some woo woo stuff. But I didn't judge her because I do come from a family where like my dad is a tree hugger, like he'll go hug a tree or something like that.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
that's cute.
So it wasn't like weird for me. But it really was COVID. When COVID happened, I stopped DJing, right? Like, as you know, I was DJing and I stopped DJing, right? So I lost that community of being able to go out and party because they shut everything down. I lost my job. I got laid off.
I lost my job too during
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah. So
It was tough.
yeah, and a lot of people, I feel like I think this is going to be a story for a lot of people going forward, just because of the whole COVID situation. Either like it made things worse for your life, or it made you like sit back and really think about life. So when I can't go out and party and drink and DJ and have fun and have that outlet, and I don't have a job, I was just at home. I was just at home. And I was living in San Francisco at my grandmother's house. She had an apartment downstairs that I was living in, and I decided to remodel it. So I started like redoing the walls, painting, doing the floors.
Oh, you know what? I think I remember you posting
Yeah,
the journey of you
yeah,
modeling down there. It
I
looked
definitely
dope.
did. Yeah, yeah. So basically I spent a lot of time with myself, like painting, putting in floors, like hours by myself. And then I decided to like start reading a book. I think the book is called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I don't know if you ever read that book or
I
heard about
haven't
that
read it,
book.
but I've heard of it.
Stephen something, I think.
Maybe Cohen?
Great book. Definitely like that's kind of like what kickstarted everything. So I had a lot of time by myself.
So technically during COVID, when you lost your job and you were at home in your thoughts, that's kind of where you were like looking at your life and reflecting and like, okay, I want to change some things around.
Exactly. You couldn't have said it better. I was started looking at the mirror more closely. I started reflecting. I started thinking about my choices, my age, just kind of like what I want my life to be like going forward. And I think if it wasn't for that time or COVID, I think I could still be DJing and being out and drinking and partying every weekend, and maybe have not even had the opportunity to understand Mel and what she has to offer as someone in, you know, being in a relationship with. So I was actually talking with her throughout that whole time, and
Throughout the time that you were like going through your process.
going through that process. Yeah. So I started talking to her about it, and I feel like for her it was like great. Like he's starting to get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So she was like,
Yeah, yeah.
he's with the shit.
And like bless her heart, and I love Mel so much for like how patient she has.
Don't we love a patient woman?
Oh my God. Like if you can find yourself something in a woman, guys, like a patient, loving woman is really all that we
And
need.
if you have one of those, stop fucking up.
Okay. Treat her right. But Also, from the guy's perspective, I understand that it takes
It's
us
tough.
it takes us a little bit of time to understand and see that. So she was extremely patient with me, and or go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I'm a firm believer. Well, I'm really big on the law of attraction.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've read or heard of The Secret.
I heard of it.
I really feel like you were working on yourself and you called her into your life. And
Yeah.
that's when she, well, I mean, she was there, but she was like, she showed up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's a trip to
yeah.
me.
Well, you want to hear what's even crazier about our story is that she went to a retreat and she was kind of like, fuck this. Like, I don't know if I'm really gonna like if I should even deal with this guy anymore.
To you.
Yeah, like that's how she was feeling, right?
Well, yeah, yeah.
Because I was taking so long to like get my stuff together, right?
I feel that.
And so she did go to a retreat because she was also working on herself at the same time, where she came out with the idea of that she's just gonna let things be whatever it is, like whatever it is will be. So I feel like she took a lot of pressure off our relationship, and then I was in a space where I was starting to learn like how I wanted my life to be. So it just kind of aligned.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then um, I'll stop here in a second and I'll let you ask any questions. But basically, what happened is that my family was like very scared of COVID. And they were very scared of my grandmother getting COVID. And to be honest, I didn't really take it that serious. Like, I didn't wasn't taking it serious. So it kind of led to, you kind of can't be here if you're not going to take it serious how we're taking it.
As in, you can't live there,
Yeah,
right? Okay,
yeah,
okay.
right. And I had my own apartment and I was like paying rent and all that stuff, but they just felt very scared. Mel was living on her own. I was already spending a lot of time. Basically, I was leaving the house to go see Mel. You know what I mean? She had her own place, and we ended up moving together after that, and then the journey continued.
Okay. I do want to hear more about how challenging it was for the both of you. Or, I mean, because obviously, like, you're working on yourself, right? And she's also working on herself. So I'm sure there were moments, maybe arguments, conversations that had to happen that were uncomfortable. How did you guys manage those? Especially
to
for
this
you.
day. To this day, we still have like conversations that are challenging.
I don't like to say arguments, conversations.
Yeah,
right?
they're conversations. Like, honestly, what it really is trying to taking the time to understand the other person's perspective and why they might look at a situation from their lenses. Taking the time to do that is really what it is. You can call it a conversation or argument or whatever it is, but really, it's a moment for you to try to see the other person's perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's something I'm still learning, and I have to remind myself of, like, I'm not like this perfect fucking dude or anything.
Like, how do you?
It was really uncomfortable for me, to be honest, because like Mel's very spiritual. Like, that's what she does now. It's her business. It's what she does.
It's like her lifestyle. This is her.
Yeah, she lives that lifestyle. So it was very like, again, my family kind of was like spiritual and stuff like that. Like, it wasn't all too foreign to me, but Mel was like on another level. So there was like a lot of times where I would like make fun of her for like certain things, or she wants to eat like a certain food. And in the beginning, like, I was still like coming out of like DJing and partying, so I was like, trying to like bring over some high speeds and order some DoorDash or something at the time.
That's definitely not what she wanted.
Like, can I play my bowls for you? I'm like, you don't want to have this high speed? Like, we can just watch this movie. Like,
let's drink this high speed, play with the bowls.
Yeah. So there was a transition for me, right? And I'm like, we still have fun. We'll have drinks and stuff like that. And, but yeah, it's a regular thing still. But yeah, it was very like, I was still in that trend. There was a whole transition for me to like start. And the reality is, like, being with Mel again, like, she started showing me that mirror, like, like, the best thing about Mel, and is like really the foundation of our relationship, is that she could see through the bullshit. Like, I was DJing and I thought it was pretty cool. I'm like, of course you should like me. And she's like, I know you're really not like that. And I'm like, damn, you could see that.
She sees the real you.
She could see the real me. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So that was really special for me, because then she was also patient with me, because she could see that. She's like, you're putting on an act. Like, that's not how you really are. And I'm like, damn, that's not how I really am. You're right.
A lot of people put on the act.
Yeah.
That's the sad reality.
It's kind of what you're taught as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Wherever your programming comes from, or whether it's a parent, your environment, an older sibling, like someone, you learned it from somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, especially growing up in the Mission in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. I was talking about this in the last episode with my cousin about having a facade, but you had to because you're growing
It's like
up.
a survival thing almost.
Yes, exactly. So I feel like a lot of us in the Bay Area have this exterior wall and this exterior to us because we have to be hard. We have to show ourselves that like this, we're not one to fuck with,
Yeah, yeah.
you know? So it, I mean, that I feel like that plays a role in, how you operate.
100%. I think a lot of us come from families of immigrants, right? Like
Mhm.
first generation born here, so there's high expectations, and you feel like you got to go out there and you got to fight and you got something to prove to show that like you're equal. And like in my family, and my family is very untraditional, and for us it was like be as American as you can. Like we didn't talk Spanish at home. It was like everybody has to go to college, everybody needs to get degrees. um so that was my facade, kind of, is like more Americanized than
Yeah.
anything. And it's like, this is why we all have anxiety, because we try to pretend to be this or hold this facade, and as we get older we start realizing it's not as easy to hold up this facade or be fake, and that's where the anxiety comes from. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's all full circle. Like, I think in that time when I was transitioning, like, to like starting to move in with Mel, and that's what I was starting to realize. Like, I don't even know I had anxiety. Like, I don't know what it is. They don't teach us what anxiety is. Like, it took me being in a relationship with Mel for her to be like, you have a lot of anxiety. Like, everyone deals with it. I'm like, no, what
Yeah.
are you talking about?
Honestly, like it's something that I'm learning as a therapist is we all have anxiety and that a lot of things cause anxiety,
Yeah,
like caffeine,
our world, the world
alcohol,
that we live in
the
today.
world, all the
Ugh.
issues like life causes
Yes,
anxiety.
yes,
But it's like us trying to look at the future, and for me that's why I'm really big right now on being present.
yeah,
And I really appreciate your girlfriend and what she does because it makes you present and it
yes,
makes you just be here in the now. Stop worrying about what's going to happen next.
yes,
Stop worrying about the future. That's where the anxiety comes from. We're
exactly.
always thinking far ahead. And it's like, let's breathe, let's relax,
Yeah,
let's be here.
yeah,
What's going on?
but
What's the problem?
yeah,
What's the solution?
yeah,
Everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to. You got to trust in the universe and the process.
yeah.
So that's what helps me with anxiety.
Well, yeah,
Like,
you're on the journey. So
yeah, exactly.
you're starting to get it. It's starting to click. You're starting to feel like those moments of like euphoria from doing the work.
Every
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
dude. And I'm
yeah,
telling you, like, I'm not drinking. I do have black coffee,
yeah.
and black tea, but I'm not doing anything else. Like, it's just completely like high from the universe.
Hmm.
Like, I'm feeling so good every day.
Those are like a lot of the things that I started learning. And like Mel was like, you need to start eating differently. Like
Mm-hmm.
all these like oils and all these like alcohol, like that's gonna, when you eat really bad, I think it prevents you from having those feelings of euphoria and connecting and being able to get the full advantage of a meditation. Like, you do got to change your diet. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I realized in the beginning of our relationship is like having to treat your body differently, whether it
Mm-hmm.
came from like eating differently, taking time to meditate and pause for a little bit. All those things were kind of foreign for me. I was in
Yeah.
tech, I was DJing, like everything was like fast paced. I was living that fast life. So to slow everything down was like a challenge for me in the beginning. Like,
But how did you do it?
what?
What advice can you give someone that is also wanting to change? Like they're
Yeah.
doing the party lifestyle, they're drinking, they're lost, they're looking for purpose. Yeah,
Either you're going to change on your own or something in your life is going to force you to change. That's
100%.
the only way it happens, right? And it takes a lot of willpower, and it's scary and it's sad, and it's like you lose a lot of friends and family if you choose to like put yourself first in that way. Or something's got to happen. Like, unfortunately, something like COVID, right? Like, for me, that's what made me like take a step back and start thinking about things. But there are some people that it's a choice. You can choose to do it. Like, I feel like that's kind of like what you're doing, right? Like,
Yeah.
you made that choice to be different, right? And go down that journey.
Yeah, and I also went through a lot of fuck ups to get to this point where I decided to change. Yeah, like it really takes a decision. It's
Yeah.
like you get to a point where you're fed up and you're like, I want more out of my life. What am I doing wrong? You got to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
It's not about anyone else. It's not about your parents. It's not about the way you were raised, although there are factors, right? They are. But at the end of the day, you control your life. You are the one in control of your life. And that was the big like connect for me. Cause I'm like, shit, I'm single, I live on my own, I pay my bills, like I got everything lined up, but I'm still going out here and there. I'm still doing this and I'm not exactly where I want to be. Why?
Yeah.
And then that's where I was like, okay, let's let's change some things.
Yeah.
Cut out the drinking.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I won't drink again,
Yeah.
but I don't want. I'm looking at it differently. Like I'm really trying to take care of my body, my mental, emotional, spiritual, and that means not poisoning my body
Yeah.
every weekend,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 100%.
Maybe once in a while on vacation, but and just feeding myself the proper nutrition. I'm taking CMOS every day.
Yeah.
Exercising
Yeah,
every day.
actually have the
CMOS,
CMOS one.
dude. If you don't have CMOS, I swear to you, and it. I feel a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I cannot not take it in the morning.
Yeah. No, we take CMOS too.
You guys do too?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I
great.
feel energy all day.
Yeah. A lot of like mental clarity.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And I feel like I'm taking like all the vitamins I need, for my body.
Yeah.
So it just feels good.
So I feel like once you really start like taking care of the body, then your mind has the opportunity to like start thinking about what are the steps that I want to take to like live the life I want to live. But when you're eating bad and when you're drinking and you're not working out and you're just not taking care of your body like that, you're not even thinking like what's next? Like what can I do to improve things, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because you're hungover. You're
Yeah,
sluggish.
it's everything's
You're like,
you're
what should I order on
you're
DoorDash?
drunk, you're hungover, or you're trying to do 2 DoorDashes in one day, you know?
And yeah, it's a lot of wasted time.
Yeah.
And I mean, it might seem like our time here, we have a long time, but we really don't. We never know when it's our time to go. We might as well make the best out of it.
And yeah, I think that's why being present is like really important, right? Because if you're always thinking about what already happened or what could happen, then you're not really enjoying like the conversation that you're having with somebody.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Or really taking the time to get to know them. You're just staying at the surface. So yeah, there's a lot of things that you're gonna go through when you make that decision or when life forces you to go down that journey. And there's things that you can do to like get a little boost on that journey. And one for me was when Mel and I went to see Danny.
Yes, please tell us about that. Tell them what it is.
Yeah.
I've actually been wanting to go to one, and I told Jasmine about it.
Yeah.
But I've really been pulled to go. I just haven't been able to make the time.
Yeah. You guys should go. You should
Yeah.
get Jasmine and go. But one thing that I'll say and then I'll kind of explain what it is that there's tools out there and some that you pay for, some that are free. There's a lot of tools that can help you on this journey. And I take full advantage of like what's free, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I get my meditations from YouTube. Like Joe Dispenza, someone, I don't know if you ever heard it.
I don't think so.
Look him up after. Joe Dispenza is the best. He's like one of my favorites.
He sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's super cool. But Joe Dispenza with my meditations, I do yoga, which is some girl Cassandra, which is free. And then so
on YouTube?
On YouTube,
Oh.
yeah. So we just follow her and we'll do yoga. So there's a lot of things out there, and Spotify has meditations.
Mm-hmm.
But every now and then you would like to get a little boost while you're going on this journey, right? You start feeling good. You're like, I want more of it. I want more of that clarity. I want more of that inspiration.
That's how I feel right now.
Yeah.
I late at night thinking of
like, what else can I do, right? And some people like the popular thing right now is like ayahuasca or mushrooms or these like retreats, right? So we like started looking into like, well, what can we do to boost it and do something like as a couple, right? Like it's clicking with me. I'm starting to understand. She's deep into her journey. She's thinking about growing her spiritual coaching business, and I'm like, let's do something together then, right? Like I wouldn't usually do this, but let me see what can happen because I'm already feeling great about all these things that we're doing.
I love that.
Yeah. So another thing that's free too and is useful is podcast.
Yes.
podcasts like,
Podcasts
yeah,
like this where you get
podcasts like this.
free wisdom.
Yeah,
Like
you get
we can't complain that we don't get stuff. Like we got stuff.
the
We're just not
services are
saying.
out there. Yeah, we gotta just you gotta be vulnerable enough to try something that makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And this was probably the most uncomfortable thing that I ever had to do was go to this 3 day retreat in Austin.
I bet.
It was kind of like the tail end of COVID, and in Texas it was a lot like they weren't taking COVID very serious. Um, but we went, and it's a 3 day retreat at a hotel. There's like maybe 800 other people there, and Danny has his own podcast where it's like self help, like kind of a spiritual podcast where he's and
I love his podcast. Him
I'll
and his wife too.
yeah, they do a great job. And you know what? That's the other thing too. Like, there's so many different resources out there. You can find the one that resonates with you. For me as a guy, like Mel was like, and she didn't mean any harm by it, but she was kind of trying to show me what she has stumbled upon and
Yeah.
what like brightened the light inside of her. And I was like, this doesn't really resonate with me. So I went and found like a bunch of guys, and one of them being like Danny. And I listened to his podcast after the gym, like eating breakfast. I always listen to his podcast. We decided to go to the retreat.
The Higher Self podcast.
The Higher Self podcast, exactly. We decided to go to his retreat, 3 day retreat at a hotel in Austin. And it's really about finding the higher self. Like,
that's exactly. I want to go.
That's what he did. So you go through like a presentation of kind of helping you understand what's going on, and then he starts going down the rabbit hole of like why people are acting the way they act, and kind of just like the journey. He literally explains the journey and what to do, and these different points that you're going to be on, and then there's different sessions throughout the retreat where you do breath work. So I was introduced to breath work through going to that retreat. Have you ever done breath work?
No, I haven't, but I know a few people that do
Yeah,
breath work.
it's medicine. Again, like this is medicine. At least that's how I felt after having the experience, similar to like the sound bowls that Mel does and all that. Like,
it feels. Is it similar?
It's very similar, but it's also a way for you to like release past traumas and things like that.
Damn.
So he like walks you and guides like all these people, and everyone's having like these profound like experiences through the breath work. Like, there's yoga. He makes you do like activities and interact with different people, but he kind of just helps you understand where you might be stuck and why you are stuck there and what you need to do to get out of there. Right. Whether it's like from your family, the people that you're around, any shame that you feel, any traumas that you felt, kind of helps you like identify what it is that's holding you back, and then kind of gives you the path to kind of get out of it. And I think one of the things that happened for Mel and I at that trip that like even took our whole relationship and spiritual relationship to the next level was he talked a lot about masculinity and femininity. And
I love that he talks about that.
He goes so deep into that. And he said some shit to me that just like resonated with me that changed our relationship. He
share with us if you want.
Yeah, no. He kind of just pointed out like that in order for like a girl in a relationship to drop into her feminine and maybe be more of what guys want, like maybe you need to love her the right way. Maybe you do need to be like the masculine in the relationship. And there was like one thing where he said, it was so triggering for me. Like, I even skipped out on one day of the retreat. Like,
what?
Yeah,
that's how much he triggered you?
Yeah, because I'm like, damn, I thought I was doing stuff the right way, but then, and it's not even doing it the right way. It's just about like making decisions based on like what you want out of your relationship, I feel like. And he made me like mature overnight, honestly. Because
that's insane.
Yeah,
that's huge.
He was just like, your partner, your wife, your girlfriend, like at the end of the day, like she is someone that can give birth. Like, she is someone that can bring life. She is the one that can like feed a baby. You can't do that. So why would you live a 50-50 life with her? Because at the time, me and Mel were like, we were splitting everything down the middle. You know what I mean? I was like, this is progressive. This is how things are in the, Bay Area or whatever. And the reality, it was like, she can do things that I can't do. Why would I expect her to contribute in such a way? But it was triggering for me. Like, I didn't even like finish one of the days to go, and she still went on her own. Yeah.
triggering because of like he was talking about
it just started bringing up a lot of conversations for her and I to have, right? And that's like we were going back to the hotel, like starting to like rethink how the relationship should be. And I'm like, damn, what did I get into? Like, but I hella received that. And when we got back, we changed kind of like how we ran things in the house, and I took more of a position of like taking care of more of the bills and the rent and things like that. And Mel, before we were living together, was a single mom. So she kind of took on both energies, the masculine and the feminine, at raising her
That's
son.
tough.
So even though we were in a relationship and we were doing 50-50, I feel like she was still living from that space of having to like take care of things or feeling like she needed to, right? But the second that she didn't feel like she needed to, like I got a different, even more, like Mel's already extremely loving, right? And I just got like an even more loving version,
Oh,
like an even more like supporting version of her, which like transformed our relationship.
so she was able to drop into her feminine.
Yeah. And I think, that's what makes our relationship beautiful. And I think that's what guys can definitely work on in relationships, is helping girls feel like you're safe here in this space, and provide for them so that they can feel that,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you need to like pay all your girls' bills or something, but if you do choose to like live with someone and make that commitment, like you should take care of them. And in return, I just got back so much love from her.
And when you say take, not just financially, but like emotionally,
Yeah. Because I think the most
holding space.
masculine thing that you can do, again, what I learned from the retreat with Danny, was actually drop into your feminine and be softer with her.
Like have a balance, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can balance that, your masculine and your feminine side as a male, to me, you're being the most masculine thing you can
I
be.
100%
Yeah.
agree with that.
And it took me some time. Like I told, again, like we had conversations after the retreat and stuff like that. And it took me some time to get more comfortable with that and have to realize that, because, as I started like feeling more into this new person that I wanted to be, relationships that I had with other people and family didn't work out anymore. So you'll go through a lot of changes with your whole, when you make those decisions.
Yeah, I know. It gets kind of lonely.
It does.
Yeah.
It does, but that I think we all need that. Like
Yeah.
I needed that when COVID happened and I just spent time in my apartment like by myself. I just needed the time to like really think about what I wanted. But as you continue to do the work, you'll meet more people, right? Like you seeing that I was posting stuff, I see that you're doing this podcast and everything, and I know Jasmine's doing the work now. My girl, right? And
Yeah.
we have a community.
I love it. We better start a
Yeah.
whole Facebook group. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, whether we're at the
A
bar,
monthly meetup.
whether we like meet up at a bar to have shots, but we also know like we're people that we can meet up and do meditation with together.
Yes, I love that. Or we could do a gym, like a group gym thing.
Exactly.
Positive stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't always have
Yeah.
to be, what they
Let's
show
get a
us.
let's get a big ass bottle and just all.
Yeah, and see what happens.
Nah, that was the old us.
Yeah.
That part of us shedded.
Yeah. And so once you start doing things like going to retreats, or like if like an ayahuasca thing is your thing, like I'm not there yet. I don't know.
I don't think I am either. I'm low key scared to even.
But everyone has a different situation and a different trauma, and maybe that's what somebody else needs. You know what I mean? So it's like you really get to like choose like your concoction of resources and tools that you want for your journey, right? So whether it's like finding something for free on YouTube or paying for like a $20,000 retreat in Costa Rica or something like that, or Guatemala, like there's a lot of different options. But yeah, and since then, like Mel and I continue to have, conversations about getting on the same page about things. And it's really, again, it's understanding each other's perspective, because like she comes from a different family than my family is. Like I was saying, mine's just like almost very Americanized. Like, we didn't speak Spanish at home.
Yeah. So you don't speak Spanish?
I do enough.
Do you understand it?
Yeah, I can understand. The funny thing is I can understand and write better than I can probably talk it, because I took also 4 years of Spanish in high school. But we come from completely different backgrounds. So sometimes it's like taking the time to understand that other person's backgrounds and their experiences and even traumas, to not like judge them in whatever conversation that we're having.
Yeah.
And that's an ongoing process. Like,
Yeah. Definitely is an ongoing process.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, Danny, you should go to one of his things.
I will. I definitely will. I
It's gonna
have
challenge you. Like it gets you
more
into
than I'm already
like
challenged.
yeah, like that's the thing. You're gonna always get challenged on the journey, but it made me so uncomfortable that I couldn't even go to the last event. But
Oh, that sucks.
but in hindsight, it was probably like it's the best thing that ever happened to me because it made me so uncomfortable that I literally had to think about like why the do I feel so uncomfortable
Yeah.
about this? And it catapulted like our relationship to a space where we like communicate a lot better.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's really good. So you feel like it definitely has made a positive change with
100%.
you and in your relationship.
100%. Yeah, it just gave me a whole different perspective of looking at things, and then it helped me understand too. Like I'm making decisions sometimes based off of my own programming or my own traumas, and I need to be okay with like making decisions and looking at things from my own perspective, right? And again, like that's what even gives me the confidence to have like this conversation with you today, is
Yeah.
like doing all those things. If I didn't have those experiences or uncomfortable conversations with Mel or uncomfortable retreat like situations, I wouldn't be where I'm right now, you know?
Yeah. So do you feel like your childhood and your upbringing and the people you surrounded yourself with definitely played a role in your mentality as a man
Yeah, I think
and
my
your relationships that you chose?
yeah, I think my experience at home definitely led to a lot of the decisions that I started making once I got outside of the home. So I grew up in South San Francisco, and fortunate enough to grow up in like a nice neighborhood. Like
That's
it's a suburb, it's a good city.
your
I,
parents, I mean, they immigrated
yeah.
here
So my mom came here when she was like 5 from Nicaragua. My dad came when like he was like 18 or 20 from El Salvador.
and they busted their ass to make sure that they had that nice house for you.
So they did. Like my parents worked very hard, and that's what a trait that I also picked up
Mhm.
from them is like working extremely hard, right? I think as Latinos, that's like
We
one
work too
thing.
much
Yeah, we
sometimes.
work too hard.
We need
We
balance
too
with
hard
that too.
to please other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we were fortunate enough to live and grow up in South San Francisco. I have a twin brother and an older sister, so
You have a twin brother?
I have a twin brother. There's
Oh,
another one of me walking around
what the
this
hell? Have
planet.
you ever
Yeah.
posted him on your?
No, yeah. What the funny thing is that we are
You know
like
what would be a
we're
trip
opposites.
is if he was the one DJing this whole time. Whoa, I am
But
mind blown
we
right
don't
now.
look alike. We're fraternal, so we don't
Oh,
look alike.
okay.
Yeah, we don't look alike. But I do have a twin. He's a minute older than me. But we were fortunate enough to grow up in South City because my dad was a painter,
Mm,
and he made a deal with the guy that owned the house. And the deal was that the guy would give my dad a discounted rent as long as when he needed one of his other houses painted, that my dad would do it for him.
hey,
So
you gotta do what you gotta do.
that and I'm obviously extremely grateful that my parents and my dad was even able to pull something off like that, because that's the only reason that we were able to grow up in South San Francisco and live in the neighborhood that we lived in. They never bought that house, but they rented it from kindergarten till we all graduated
Damn.
high school. So, but my grandmother, she came, and my grandparents came, and they busted their ass. They bought a house in San Francisco in Visitation Valley. So, I was always back and forth between South San Francisco and San Francisco. And then as I got older, I did end up living in my grandmother's house for like 10 years in Visitation Valley. So I even spent some time in San Jose. But
Damn, you were
yeah,
all over.
yeah.
How was it like growing up in San Francisco? Because you said you lived there for like 10 years.
So I was in San Francisco from like the age of 22
Were
to
you
like
around when like
30.
all the gang members and stuff was happening? Were
No,
you out and about being scandalous?
no, not at all. Like, I never even got in trouble like that. I never was too scared to get in trouble. Like my mom instilled the fear of God in me,
Okay.
like to get in trouble. Well, really, in my home, it was like the worst thing that you could do was get in trouble, or say you got a girl pregnant, or and well, our punishment would be like, then you got to leave. So we were
Yeah.
like all too scared to even test the waters with
That's
my
how it was
parents.
for me, but like with tattoos. I had never gotten a tattoo because I would have got my ass whooped
Yeah.
until I'm 35. I got my first tattoo.
Yeah.
Sorry, mom.
I know they don't like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, so I grew up, South City and San Francisco. Um, very fortunate, obviously, 'cause like I said, because of my parents. But my mom ran a daycare in the house.
That's a good investment.
But yeah,
That's a good business to have for sure.
it was a good business. Yeah, it was. It just wasn't the best for us though. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
because
Like
yeah, you
you
had all
come home
these
from
kids.
school and there's kids there. There's kids running around that are like calling your mom.
That's too much energy.
Yeah, it was just like imagine just you come home, there's like five other kids in your house. But I was kind of the black sheep in my family, so definitely like my relationship and my experience in my home kind of like dictated why I wanted to be out so much. I wanted to be outside. Um because of
You wanted to get into some trouble.
yeah,
I feel it. I mean, I did too. I was doing.
I didn't want to follow the rules, basically. Yeah. Which led to me like moving out and making the decision to leave on my own. But definitely my experience in growing up, I think, dictated kind of how I went about making friends outside of the home and those kind of things for sure.
Okay. And I do want to go into how you were talking about Danny and the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah.
So you definitely bring up a good point because I feel like it's so important for men and women to balance the feminine and the masculine.
Yeah.
And that's something you learned with Danny Morel, right?
Yes.
How do you think we can help someone who's listening in and understanding their masculine and feminine, like balancing it out? Like, what do you think?
Well, I think a lot of guys, like, all we really want from our girls is to be loved, right? And I think a lot of what girls want is to feel safe. And so I think if you can do anything to make your girl feel safe, like you're going to feel that love from her. So I think it's sometimes like there's something you need to change if you want to get a result from someone else, right? Like maybe you need to try something different. Like don't have that expectation that like, okay, we live together. You're going to wash my clothes and cook for me, right? Like she has a job and she works too. And like, luckily my mom raised me to like not let a girl do those things. Like again, I was very raised in an untraditional way.
Yeah. So you were like helping clean around the house and
Like I
laundry.
cook, I clean, I do my own laundry. She doesn't do my laundry or anything like that. Like
That's good because there's a lot of men out there that
I'm not
don't do none of that.
I'm not like if anything, I'm like all the way on the other side of the spectrum where I'm like, don't do that because I like to fold it this way. Or like my black shirt's got to be together or something like that. I mean, I love cooking. Like my mom had me in the kitchen at a very young age cooking with her, so like I had a very untraditional Latin experience growing up. But yeah, I mean, but
it honestly was good.
It is good. It is good, and
because I think we all, men and women, doesn't matter the gender, should know how to do it all because it's more like for yourself, like being able to be an adult. Like, there's a lot of people that are adulting now and don't know how to wash a dish, don't know how to clean.
And it's also like if you have your girl cleaning for you, cooking for you, washing your clothes, like when is she gonna have time to like love you?
Say that part again. That is so true.
If she's cleaning, if she's cooking, if she has her own career and she's working and she's washing your clothes, when is she gonna have the energy or the time to love you the way you want to be loved? Like
that is so true.
It's not realistic. Like I get tired just doing everything too. So like to imagine her doing her stuff and then someone else's stuff, it's not realistic. So
yeah, I'm really big on that too. Like it's so important for you. It's just like when you're in a relationship, you love that person, right? So you want to support them in any way that you can. If you see that she's working or doing the dishes or this and that, if you could take out the trash, if you could help with the dishes, if you could help with anything little, like that's what we appreciate.
Yeah.
Just you taking initiative, you helping out, like that is huge for us. And that's when the woman will drop into her feminine.
Yeah.
And she'll feel supported.
Then you get more of what you want from your partner or from your wife, your girlfriend, whatever it is. So you got to do something that's uncomfortable. Like if I can give advice to people, is like you got to try things that will make you feel uncomfortable. It's like eating a salad when you don't usually eat a salad. Like it's gonna suck first time, you know.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say because it's a habit. Like
Yeah.
it's not something you know how to do, so
Hmm.
you got to practice it.
Like
It's gonna be uncomfortable.
a lot of boys in the Latin families are raised to like not have to like cook or clean, or you bring me my plate. You know, I worked all day, and it's like, well, so
Y'all,
did she.
y'all got spoiled. I don't know if you
No,
did.
I didn't get that
Oh, okay.
experience. I
My
wish I
Yeah,
did.
in my family, all the boys got spoiled.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, they loved us too. Like they gassed us up,
Yeah.
the women, but the men got their plates served to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even the husbands. I mean, I think that's beautiful that they're
Yeah.
catering to them, but it was like a one-sided thing.
I think it's okay if, as long as you're gonna wait for your wife to get her plate too, and then you start eating. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you want to bring me my plate first, cool. But I'm not gonna eat until you come with your food too and start eating, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta have those conversations. It's like, all right, I'll take out the trash and can you wash the dishes? Or like, what is it that you want to do? Or things like that. Like, you gotta have that conversation. The real beautiful thing about Mel and I's relationship is that like I grew up with my mom saying like, no, you're 10. This is how you wash your clothes. This is how you fix your bed. This is how you cook. Now you do it yourself, right? And then she grew up in a family with like a big Latin family with 5 older brothers. And we've been at Thanksgiving where they're like, "Can you give me a plate?" Uh, yeah, you know what I mean. So,
Get your own plate.
it's I think we hella like we appreciate that like duality from each other because she wants to like serve, and I'm like, no, I don't want you to. I could do it myself. So we both kind of get to experience like the other side.
Y'all fighting about who's gonna serve who.
Yeah, you know.
I love that. That's a good
Yeah,
relationship to
no,
me.
we got really
Who's
lucky.
gonna serve who?
Yeah, no, we got really because in my home it's like my mom kept me and my brother on a tight leash. Like we were clean cut boys. We served ourselves and things like that. So it was.
Would you get in trouble if you weren't doing that? Like,
No. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'd get in trouble if I hadn't like washed my clothes, or like my mom wasn't gonna come and be like, let me wash your clothes for you. She was gonna be like, go wash your clothes. Like,
okay.
you need to fix your bed, like clean your room, and it's like, no, do it the right way, you know. And you got to think about my mom was running a daycare, so the house did have to be spotless. Like we would have someone that would come and inspect the house to make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
So, the environment that we lived in was like you got to keep things very clean and safe for the kids and stuff like that. So I learned at a young age to be like, I was hyper independent out of luck, and I learned through like the process of being in a relationship, like you can't be independent in a relationship. That doesn't work.
Yeah, you're in a partnership now. It's like it's not about you. Oh, I mean, it is still about you.
Yeah.
But it's you and this other person too.
Exactly. Like I feel like we all start off when we're young being dependent, like we're dependent on our parents. Then we get to a point where we're independent. And this is what I learned from reading the 7 Habits. So read books, right? Go to retreats.
Yeah, read books, y'all.
There's a lot of books out there.
Or even use the audio.
Yeah, audiobooks too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
audiobooks. If you don't like to read, audiobooks are good.
There's a lot. There's a lot of things that you can do, like if you're trying to figure out like how do I like take the next step in my journey. But we're dependent, and then we're independent, and then you need to get to a place of being codependent. Right? You don't want to stay in the position where you're dependent on someone else. And you also don't want to be in a position where you're so independent that you can't even work with someone else, right? So getting to a place where we can like be codependent and we can work on it with each other has been helpful. So,
yeah, I always say I'd rather be in a partnership than in a relationship.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like you two working together and how you can support each other individually and together as a couple.
Yeah. I mean, I think you'd be surprised on how creative like your partner can be once they have the space to be like creative and feel safe. Like Mel's business has started to like grow and flourish so much.
That's
And,
awesome.
yeah, like, and I'm not saying that I take the responsibility. Like she puts in the work all the time, but I let her, and I want her to have that space to do that because she's happiest when she's doing that. And that's more important to me than it's like, hey, can you make sure you pay everything 50/50? You know what I mean? Like,
fellas, have a notebook and write that down.
it took a long time.
Give your woman space.
Yeah. To love you and to be who. I mean, there's so much beautiful things about women. Like I learned so much about Mel, and you just got to give him the opportunity to, because a lot of people are in a fight or flight mode. And it could be because maybe you were a single mother, or maybe you had some really unhealthy relationships. So as guys, like, we need to drop into that feminine energy and let our girls feel safe.
Mhm.
And then we get everything that we want. You get everything that you want after that. So yeah.
Okay, and before we start closing down, I do want to ask about the transition because you mentioned how, I mean, obviously, like you were a whole other person, right?
Yeah.
There was that transition period. So it was like you, Carlos, fighting against the old and the new.
Yeah.
Like, how did you handle that? How was that for you? Because there's going to be people listening in that are probably in that middle um, area right now, or the gray area, where they're like fighting between who they want to become and who they were or are.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a great question, because it's a battle. It's a
mm-hmm.
battle. And I'm fortunate enough to have Mel, right? And she's a spiritual coach. So I literally was able to talk to her about everything that I was feeling.
Damn.
Like, all
You are
this.
blessed.
Yeah, I got really lucky. But there's options out there, right? Like, there's therapy, there's like these BetterHelp things. Honestly, at the end of the day, you need to talk to someone neutral,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're talking from someone that wants you to just stay how you are so they feel comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to work. Like, so you do need to find, I think, whether it's a partner, a friend, someone that you can just have these open conversations with. And the reality is, like, you might think that you have someone that isn't open to, but if you start talking to them, like, you're going to get a different version of them. So really, I think it's finding someone that you can talk to about these things, or listening to a podcast about these things to give you that mental clarity, really.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, as a woman, like if I'm in a relationship, I want my partner to talk to me about these hard things.
Yeah.
Be vulnerable.
Yeah.
But I know that it's hard for men. And even there's women out there who act in their masculine where it's hard for them too to open up. And you'd be very surprised at the reaction you'll get from your partner when you do open up. And if you get a negative reaction,
That tells you something there too, right?
exactly, that might not be the right partner for you. I'm sorry to say it like that, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
And one thing like I'm learning as I'm becoming a therapist is about relationships and people. If you are not doing the work, it's so hard for the relationship to work, because if one person's doing the work and the other isn't, it's just not. Both got to be doing the work.
Yeah.
And it's clear that you and Mel are both doing the work.
Yeah.
Individually and together.
Yeah.
And that's why you guys are blossoming.
Yeah. And you have to be patient with each other, right? Like, I'm over here saying, like, this is what we need to do as guys to make the girls feel safe, and vice versa. Like, girls need to hold space for guys.
Yeah.
Like, you holding this space for me to have the opportunity to talk on your podcast is a big deal. But, girls can do things too to, like, hold space for their guys to feel comfortable and okay to maybe be more vulnerable with you.
Yeah.
And then you'll have those conversations. So
That's
both sides.
That's the thing that sucks, especially nowadays, because I feel like there's a trend going on where it's like women hate men, and it's just like it's same with men hate women. And it's all over TikTok, and I'm just like, damn. Like I look at Danny and everything he posts, and it's like, no, we need each other.
Yeah.
We don't not need each other. We do need each other, but we both need to be open and vulnerable with each other, not hurt each other. And I feel like society right now is giving us the complete opposite and pushing us farther away from each other.
We started competing with each other, I feel like, a little bit, right? Like, women wanted to compete with men in the workspace, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But we also, like, we need to make sure that we're building, like, healthy, strong families at home. Like, it needs to be about family again. And I think that we lost that. A lot of people focused on careers and things like that. And since my mom worked in a daycare, I seen the benefits of always having my mom at home. Like, I never came home from school and there was no one there. Like, I didn't have the opportunity to get into trouble,
Yeah. She made sure you came home. She was there.
It was a tight leash, very tight. And I'm grateful though, because she showed me a lot on how to, like, respect women. Like, my mom was always like, she molded me and my brother to the men that we definitely are today.
Shout out to your mom.
Shout out to moms. But yeah, it's gonna take some growth. Like, you're gonna lose some people, or it's kind of part of it.
And then just one last question. What advice would you give someone that wants to work on their highest version of themselves? What's one thing you can leave them with?
This is gonna probably sound kind of funny, but this has like been one of the most helpful things for me, and it would be change your algorithm. Change your algorithm. You can actually, which is kind of like you can change how you look at things, but change your algorithm. When I changed my social media and what I followed, now only all I see are positive quotes, affirmations, workouts, different meal preps. Like you can change what you see on social media, literally by who you follow and what you follow.
So
And so now I see like different yoga stretches all the time. I see different meals to try. I learn about healthier brands just from what I follow. So if you want an easy way to like change it, because we're all using social media, at least when you pick up your social media and you scroll through it, it could be something healthy rather than like, cars doing sideshows or like people drinking or something like that. Like it can be like really addicting to look at that. But if you look at enough workout videos, you're gonna be like, shit, I think I'm gonna go try out that workout today. Or you know what? I want to buy that recipe so I can make that healthy meal. So that would be my suggestion.
And that's so true because even for myself, I'm starting to become the highest version of myself. I find myself like following and liking and commenting on women that are working on themselves or seeing women in the gym lifting, high protein meal recipes,
That's all you see now.
meditation, high frequency stuff. So now that's what I'm seeing. Although I do still get some of like the drama stuff because sometimes, a girl needs her cheese man. We
Yeah.
grew up on novelas. So,
Yeah.
so sometimes
It's a balance, honestly. Everything is a balance. One of my rules is like you can literally do whatever you want, just do it in moderation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's
Stay true to who you are.
But do what you want to do in moderation. You don't need any too much of anything is bad for you.
Yes, exactly. Too much of something is bad for you. Like the drink, put the drink down. No. Okay, so thank you. I appreciate you for coming on here and just talking a little bit about your life and what you've learned through your journey with yourself, with your girl.
Yeah.
I think it's truly amazing how much you have changed and where you're going.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm excited to see where you end up and how you and your girl end up as well.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for you having me, and I really appreciate it. I feel like it's another notch on the journey for me. So
Yes.
thank you so much.
And hopefully we'll have his girlfriend on the pod soon. So stay tuned for that one. It's going to be. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I appreciate you for listening, for taking the time to listen to my episodes while you're at work, while you're driving, while you're in bed, whatever you're doing. I just appreciate you. Thank you. Love you. We're out.
Take care. Peace.